Brodes Media.
Just when I thought I was turning the corner and I was in love with Philly sports again and we were riding a high, I get hit with Bryce Harper has some back stiffness, and it's not good news. I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't matter. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm not reaching panic level to the point where I think this season is now destroyed, okay? This isn't Garrett Cole to the New York Yankees going out to California to go see the biggest specialist in the world to see if the UCL is okay. We have not reached that level of, oh no, please, we now have to throw away this season in the garbage, okay? But I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at about a 3.5. And once I read some numbers that Jason Stark and Matt Gell put together in their athletic piece, it'll probably jump and rise maybe to 4, 4.5. In no way, shape, or form is it ever okay to know that they are stopping baseball activity for Bryce Harper, okay? So it hurts me and it hits me a certain type of way, even though he has played through a time where he needed Tommy John and he was still able to rake. There's plenty of examples of him battling through when he's not 100%. But what occurs is it changes the whole entire plan of Dave Dombrowski. Now he has to DH. What happens if he has to DH and can't play first base every single day? Does that mean Alec Boehm has to flip over and play the different side of the diamond? Does that mean to get Kyle Schwarber's bat in the lineup, he has to play more left field, which hurts your defense? And I actually think you have an opportunity to have a stellar defense with Trey Turner improving on that side of the field, with the Rojas, Pache, Brandon Marsh concept out in the outfield. So, it bothers me that this is now a talking point when I wanted to start the season off by kicking the testicles of the Atlanta Braves. I want to beat them up so damn bad that they're looking at the scoreboard realizing they have a fat-ass goose egg in the win column before they even get to their second series of the season. Especially with Zach Wheeler taking the bump on opening day. I am stunned that they made that move just because it's tradition. Aaron Nola's been here for how long? Aaron Nola's been through the Mike Alfranco and Odubel Herrera times where they were supposed to be the faces of the franchise. Trey Turner, JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola. The list goes on and on and on. And those were the days that Aaron Nola had to jump through all these little situations to become dominant. I mean, think about what he had to deal with. You think over the years of getting the ball on opening day, it's just, man, keep this ride going because you've been through it all. And I guess they had the conversation of, no, Zach, you deserve it. You're the number one guy. I know. Let it rip, baby. It's your time to take the ball. And I love it. So to be able to see that opening day against Atlanta is a beautiful thing. What's not beautiful, though, is the fact that Bryce Harper is not in the lineup in spring training when they go on a little bit of a bus trip, they return, and you go, all right, well, maybe it had to do with the travel and them going on the road, and then they come back, and some of the guys who were out of the lineup are already back in, except for one, Bryce Harper, and it just, we know he has a violent swing. So he's always going to put pressure on his body because of the ferociousness of how he approaches the batter's box and how badly he wants to smoke one over the fence. But take a listen to these numbers, okay? And keep in mind, I don't live and die by statistics in spring training because I've seen people rip the cover off the ball over a nice sample size in spring, and then as soon as the regular season begins, these guys are absolute bums and don't deserve any playing time whatsoever. So by no means does this automatically mean Bryce Harper won't do well, because even with back stiffness, I think Bryce Harper will do well. It's just about how long until it starts to bother him more, how long until he has to sit for a couple days in the regular season because something's happening and he's getting irritated and he doesn't feel 100%. There's no reason to push it. So they play the precautionary card in the regular season, just like they're doing now in spring training, because they want to get him all the way to October. So when it's the most important time of the season, he's available to rake. So, it's going to impact certain stretches. And what if that stretch happens to be against the Atlanta Braves later on? What if it happens to be against a team in your division like the New York Mets, or even if it's against a different team, I don't know, the Washington National? I have no idea. But it is important to the standings and trying to win a damn division for once. Instead of playing second to the Atlanta Braves, I want to be in position where I can set up my rotation without having to play a 3-game set, even if it's at home and you win the number 1 wild card team. I want to show the world that we are dominant over 162 and not win 90 regular season games. I want it to be 95 plus. Now, I was asked over the weekend on WIP from a caller where I think it lands, and deep down my gut screams probably closer to 90 like last season, and not as much as the Braves, who could win over 100, maybe the 93, 92, 94 win total. But in an ideal world, let's get the 98, all right? And then maybe the Braves win total goes down because some of the Phillies wins that make you jump is against the Braves, and you just keep showing them that they have no chance if we meet in the postseason. I want it to be so bad that they are scared, knowing that they're a good team, but damn it, we got no shot because the Phillies have their hands around our neck no matter what we do. So let's talk about some spring training numbers just for example here. Jason Stark says, how many home runs has Harper hit this spring? In 26 plate appearances, that would be none. 0. Take a look at his previous springs. There are decades worth since he arrived in the big leagues on April 28, 2012. He has never had a spring training since in which he hit 0 home runs. During his last spring training in 2022, he hit 8 of them. He is slugging .273. He slugged over 1, a 1.100 in 2022 spring. And he has just 1 extra base hit, a March 8th double. His launch angle this spring is a shocking 1.6 degrees. His lifetime launch angle would be 13.5. So spring training or not, that's a metric that's telling us he's almost never hitting a ball in the air. That is not a partial sample size either. Every game he has played this spring has been at a park that measures the StatCast data. Okay? So he goes on and continues. So what does that tell us? Maybe nothing. Maybe nothing meaningful. He hasn't played a whole lot, but his swing is obviously out of whack at spring training. So maybe this means nothing. I don't know, though. You hear back stiffness, and you also hear this. But I agree with Jason. It doesn't automatically mean that Bryce won't start opening day off with 2 doubles, and one of them being a standard generic hustle double where he's rounding first base, he gets a head first slide to second, his helmet flies off, and his hair is flowing in the wind beautifully with Philly fanatic spikes on. And it's just typical Bryce Harper. Like, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. But it's not just about starting opening day, because there's no doubt in my mind, unless anything significant happens from here until opening day, just a couple Thursdays from now, he's going to be in the lineup and he's going to play. But it's how long until he gets his first day off. It's how long until they put him at DH and now they have to make some defensive positions. And it's not as if I don't think that they could win a game with Bryce at DH and Kyle in left field, because, well, quite frankly, we did have to utilize that over the recent times, and they were still one of the best teams in all of the National League, and they weren't very far from making back-to-back World Series runs, and there's no doubt about it. They should have beaten the Arizona Diamondbacks. So, of course, it's not impossible, but I just don't know how we can write it off as, whatever. It's just spring, and they're doing what's right by not applying any sort of pressure to him, and they don't want to make him uncomfortable. So because of the stiffness, let's just take a few days off, but let's not hit any panic button and just put a smile on our face because opening days here, I'm having a hard time doing that.